You know, there's one thing that I'll never get used to, and that's standing in between these big studio lights and self-taping, right? My name's Latrell, and it's nice to meet you. But you're here for something outside of just seeing me. You want to know how to perfect your monologues. Okay, so let's get into that. But first, we need to make sure you're actually picking the right monologue. Finding your piece. A monologue is going to be a very long piece of uninterrupted dialogue from one character to another, or from one character to an entity of some shape, type, or form. But why do you need a monologue? So a monologue will allow, so you're probably required to actually provide a monologue for a audition or for your acting class. Now, depends on the reasons for either one. If you're performing a monologue for an audition, that's because the casting director wants to know how you sound, how you look, and how you move around, speak, how you talk, really your mannerisms, right? And they want to make sure if you're doing a piece, they want to make sure you're kind of aligned with the piece, but it really just to kind of hear how you speak. For acting classes, this is really used to assess, for one, it's a very good training exercise because you need to delve deep into the monologue to perform it properly. More often than not, it's really to provide an acting exercise, but it may also be to provoke the acting students' creative thought as well as understanding how they act anyways. This may allow the teacher to direct the acting student, if their intentions, if their understanding, and if the environment they have in mind is incorrect. You may already know this, but if you're performing a monologue, the best place to find your monologue is going to be in a play. Here's why. So, 9 times out of 10, first of all, if you're a student, 9 times out of 10, your acting teacher performed at some point. So they're very familiar with plays, because a lot of people start off in plays. So they may be familiar with the play that you're performing the monologue through. This allows them to already know the intentions, environment, and actions of the characters, their whys, which allows them to better guide and direct you in your acting. It lets them correct you so you're going down the right path and that your intentions align with the character. Okay, so is that the only reason you need a monologue? No, of course not. Another good reason that you want to perform from a play is so that you're not influenced by another actor's work. Here's what I mean by this. If you take a monologue from a greatest monologue hits of all time, you're getting that monologue from another seasoned actor. And what's going to happen is that you're going to adapt the mannerisms of that actor because you're assuming that's how the characters should act. It's not the case. You should act your characters like you act. When you play a part, it's an extension of you. You're peeling back the layer of yourself to reveal something else. You're not adding on someone else's acting. Understand? You are doing this as you. You're not doing this as another celebrity that's out there that's been acting for years. You're doing it as you. And in case for me, I'm doing it as Latrell Owens. Now, why is it important to be you in your monologues? Well, because it teaches you to be you in your auditions, right? So if you're unfamiliar, once you start moving professionally into the acting field, you'll begin to do auditions. And what will happen is that casting directors, if they choose you, will send you sides. Sides is a list of, as a piece of dialogue from the script of the movie, commercial, or whatever, but it's a piece of script and you play a character and you have a reader play another character and you just kind of go back and forth from there. The reason they audition, the reason you all receive the exact same piece of dialogue is because they want to know how you would respond in this situation. They want to know you. And that's why you must find a piece from a play that resonates with you. So, one last note in this section, make sure that you're going through in the play that you find, from the monologue that you picked out, go through the entirety of the play. Don't be lazy, all right? It takes maybe a couple of hours to read the play, maybe less. Take the time, read the play, because the next thing we're going to do is start preparing for your performance. All right. So you're done finding your perfect play or your perfect monologue. Hopefully by now you've finished reading it at least once, and you should have a good understanding of what exactly the character is doing, um, and you should have a good understanding of them, right? Now, what you're gonna want to do next is you're gonna want to read it again. Why? Wait, because you're looking now for breadcrumbs. These are sentences or actions that didn't make sense at the time that they were mentioned, but they may make sense now that you understand more. This allows you to peer into the minds of your character and those around them a little better to enhance your understanding. That's very important, guys. You want to make sure that you are the character. You want to make sure that you understand everything about the character, and a good way to understand everything is by reading the script over again. And that's why you're going to want to read it twice, three times, three times. The last time, though, I want you to go back and I want you to do a little exercise. This is a very basic acting exercise. You're going to make a list. You have your character's name. You know, if you should know their name by now. List what I say about myself, what others say about me, and what I say about others. Now, mind you, I'm saying I because you're going from the perspective of you being the character. So this is you getting into that part. But you want to list those things. You want to understand how the world sees you and how you see the world, you being the character. Again, I'm making that emphasis for the last time. But you need to understand this because the way that a character may feel about another character will dictate how they speak to them in a setting where they're alone or in a group of people. But either way, a good example of this is that I don't know if you guys have seen the internet meme where a dog steps on another dog's tail through the photo shoot, and that dog is just glaring at the other dog the entire time. It's because past affects the present, and you need to know what happened in the past to have a better understanding of how the character will react in the present. Okay, so now we're getting to the point where we're setting our intentions. Again, a 9-point sentence, right? What does it mean though? So if you recall from what I said earlier in the video, a monologue is really a long piece of dialogue from you to someone else, right? You're informing, criticizing, venting, retrieving something, doesn't matter what it is, but you want something from the other character or the other entity, whatever it may be, you know? It's different everywhere. But you want something. And if you've done the exercises I've asked you to do, and if you've done them properly, you should understand what that is by now, right? So notate that reason down. Be as detailed and as specific as possible. Well, because this is the reason you're having this dialogue. This is the reason you have this outburst of emotional energy because of this reason. So the entire monologue is for this reason. Underline it, circle it twice, do whatever you need to do to understand that this is very important for you and your success in this monologue. So do it. What else should you do? Okay, so it's very good practice to notate the time and the location of where you are. If you're performing a monologue professionally, it's very, very important because there may be a dialect involved. But you also need to know because there may be underlying intention, right? Being in the hospital on Christmas is much more different, or is a lot more different than being in the hospital on August 5th, right? They're different. The moods are different. So be specific, be detailed, understand your character and the environment, and you'll do great. I want to take this time also to ask for you to like and subscribe to the video. It helps me out. I expand a little bit. You know, I'm a starting small YouTuber at this point if you're seeing the video when I just upload it. I'd like to do this more. And there's more I want to get out. There's more I want to talk about. As a student actor, there's a lot that I've done. And I'd like to record it all. So if you can, like, subscribe, I'd appreciate it. But outside of that, guys, I'll see you next time. Be good. Peace.